Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Arjun Chowdhury. Here are the top stories that we're tracking for you on Friday, the 22nd of January. Bacha Khan University attackers vow to target more schools in new video. Afghanistan dismisses Pakistan's charges over university attack. And Myanmar releases first batch of political prisoners to release more soon. And now for all the details. A faction of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which claimed responsibility for the attack in Bacha Khan University in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, has vowed to attack more educational institutes in Pakistan. In a video, Commander Umar Mansoor threatened to target more schools and universities as they produce more military officers, lawyers and politicians. Mansoor called these institutions nurseries for people who challenge Allah's law. On Wednesday, 4 heavily armed militants stormed the campus in Charsada, killing 21 people. The attack echoes 2014 assault on the Army Public School in provincial capital Peshawar, which killed over 134 children. Meanwhile, scores of enraged residents and human rights activists took to the streets in Islamabad, denouncing the terrorist attack at the university. 4 gunmen struck the university on Wednesday in Charsada in the volatile Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, killing 21 people, mostly students.
Expressing their rage and anguish against the deadly attack targeting students, the protesters marched to the local press club in Islamabad on Thursday. Earlier in the day, flags flew at half-mast on government buildings as the country observed a day of mourning a day after the attack.
These people think that by murder and massacre, the gates of heaven will be open to them. The way to defeat them is not by throwing bombs on North Waziristan, even if that might be necessary, but the way is to defeat this kind of thinking. And this thinking is all around us. It is there in our mosques, here in Islamabad, just as much as it is in any small village of the country or in the tribal areas itself. So this kind of massacre, murder will go on until we get to the roots, and the roots are an ideology of violence.
The attack on Bacha Khan University came amid rising security fear in the province. Many feel it is the onus of the Pakistan government to contain increasing militant activities in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, one of the most volatile regions of the country.
We need for the government to announce inside the parliament that this is no longer the case, that there is no such thing as good Taliban and bad Taliban. All Taliban are bad Taliban, and we don't want any peace talks with the Taliban.
Pakistan has claimed that the information collected after the attack points towards Afghanistan, an allegation that the neighboring country rejected as baseless. The attack comes a little more than a year after the massacre of 134 students at a school in the region.
Afghanistan has declined Pakistan's claim that the Bacha Khan University attack was orchestrated on Afghanistan soil. On Thursday, Pakistan had stated that the varsity attackers were in possession of Afghan phone cards and were getting calls from Afghan number.
The office of the Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani, in a statement, called the Pakistani claims on Bacha Khan University attack baseless. Islamic Republic of Afghanistan has never supported a terrorist group and has never provided sanctuaries for the terror groups, the statement added. While strongly condemning the Wednesday's attack at Pakistani University, the office of the president said that Afghan government understands there is no good or bad terrorists, since the terrorists are only pursuing to spread terror. Pakistan's army spokesperson Asim Bajwa on Thursday claimed that the initial investigations pointed towards the attack being controlled from a location in Afghanistan through an Afghan cell phone card used by a Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan operative. Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff Rahil Sharif had also called Afghanistan's President Ghani and Chief Executive Officer Abdullah to share the details of the initial investigation with them. He also urged for Afghan government's cooperation against the handlers of the deadly assault and bring them to justice. 4 heavily armed militants on Wednesday entered Bacha Khan University in Charsada town of Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, killing 21 people, mostly students, and injuring scores.
Staying on news from the country, Pakistan's Supreme Court declared its earlier decision that totally banned the hunting of Hobara bustard void. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, there is less than 97,000 Hobara bustards left in the world, and it has been put on the red list, indicating that the birds are endangered species.
A 5-judge bench announced its judgment over the federal and provincial governments of Punjab, Balochistan and Sindh review petitions and lifted the ban on hunting of the endangered bird. In August last year, the Apex Court had imposed a ban on the hunting of Hobara bustard and ordered the cancellation of all existing permits issued by the government. The federal government then urged the court to reconsider its decision and had stated that the restriction was adversely affecting the country's relations with the Gulf states and the invitations to Arabs for Hobara hunting is a cornerstone of country's foreign policy. The conservationists have criticized Pakistan for granting permits for hunting bustards to wealthy Gulf Arabs for whom falconry is a revered cultural tradition. In 2014 alone, over 2,100 of these endangered birds were killed in various hunting safaris.
The already crippled medical services in Pakistan administered Kashmir are heading for a collapse. Reason being the government's failure to pay the salaries of health workers for months. A report.
Health workers in Pakistan administered Kashmir are a distressed lot. Even after providing vital medical services to people in the region, the employees are not paid their salaries. The workers sat on a protest in front of Secretariat Assembly demanding their salaries of past 8 months.
और मैं लेडी हेल्थ वर्कर हूँ। इस प्रोग्राम में जो मैं 16 साल से काम कर रही हूँ, तो इस वक्त तक जो हमें तनख्वाह मिलती है वो हमें टाइम पे नहीं मिलती है। 4-4 महीने के बाद सिर्फ 1 माह की तनख्वाह देते हैं, बाकी तनख्वाह जो है वो रोक देते हैं। जो हमारे घरों में हमारे बच्चे हैं तो उनको हमने स्कूल में दाखिल किया हुआ है। स्कूल के जो प्रिंसिपल हैं वो डेली उन बच्चों को वापस भेज देते हैं कि आप जाओ अपनी फ़ीस लेके आओ। तो हमारे पास उनके लिए कोई पैसे नहीं होते हैं जो बच्चों को दे के उनकी हौसला अफजाई करके हम उनको वापस स्कूल में भेजें। प्राइवेट स्कूल से निकाल के उन्हें हमने सरकारी स्कूल में डाल दिया है।
The health workers claim that corrupt bureaucrats are preventing the government from addressing their long pending demands.
बात यह कि 8 माह से हम लोगों की तनख्वाह बंद है। हमारा कसूर क्या, जबकि हमसे पूरा काम लेते हैं। फील्ड का काम भी सारा हमसे करवाया जाता है। उसके अलावा जो हमसे माँ बच्चे की सेहत का भी तमाम काम दिया जाता है, लेकिन हम लोगों को तनख्वाह नहीं दी जाती है।
Pakistan administered Kashmir fares dismally on the Human Development Index at a time when quality of life, health care and life expectancy of the people in other regions have improved significantly. The situation could further deteriorate if the medical staffs stop emergency services and go for their planned strike in the region.
Myanmar has begun releasing political prisoners ahead of the transfer of power next month. The National League for Democracy, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, is set to form the next government. The amnesty gives a last-minute boost to the legacy of outgoing President Thein Sein. 52 prisoners were released on Friday.
The freeing of prisoners by the outgoing government of President Thein Sein comes after US Assistant Secretary of State Anthony Blinken urged Myanmar to free all its political prisoners early this week.
About the peace process and political dialogue.
According to authorities, more than 100 prisoners would be freed from various detention centers across Myanmar in coming days. Myanmar imprisoned more than 2,000 journalists, activists, politicians and comedians during decades of military rule. 100 were released by President Thein Sein's semi-civilian government, which replaced the military junta in 2001. But human rights group complained that many still languished in jail. Till December, there were 129 political prisoners and 408 activists awaiting trial for political actions.
3 ethnic protesters were killed in Nepal on Thursday after police opened fire on them in the latest flare-up of political tensions over the country's newly adopted constitution. 8 others were also injured in the incident. Nepal has been roiled by violence for the last 4 months.
Clashes broke out in Nepal's southeastern district of Morang on Thursday afternoon when the United Democratic Madhesi Front or UDMF made attempts to obstruct the mass meeting organized by activists from the ruling CPN-UML party. The meeting was to be addressed by Nepal Prime Minister and UML chief KP Oli, which was later cancelled in view of the prevailing tension. One of the persons killed is a woman, police confirmed. The fresh violence is likely to trigger more trouble in Nepal, which is choked of essential items due to the ongoing protests by the ethnic Madhesi community. The minority community has been protesting for months against the new constitution adopted by the Nepal government, which divides the southern region into 6 of the 7 provinces in the country. The protesters say this division dilutes their political voice. According to them, the southern plain of Nepal should not be divided into more than 2 provinces. More than 50 people have died during violent clashes against the move. Several attempts to reach an agreement between the Madhesis and the Nepal government have been unsuccessful, as the Madhesis allege that the Nepal government is not serious about solving their issues and want to suppress their voice.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Bacha Khan University attackers vow to target more schools in new video. Afghanistan dismisses Pakistan's charges over university attack. And Myanmar releases first batch of political prisoners to release more soon. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend and good night.